All right, we are now joined by a legend in the New York media. He was a recipient of the 2018 Elmer Ferguson Award given out by the Hockey Hall of Fame. Began covering the Rangers in 1978 before leaving to be vice president of communications of the New Jersey Devils in 1982. Then returning to the New York Post in 1993 before reclaiming his spot on the Rangers beat 3 years later, where he's been ever since. Welcome to Forever Blue Shirts, Larry Brooks. Larry, how are you doing today?
I feel old.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Well, what
good.
made me
Yeah,
feel old was
I'm good.
having to sit up through last night's game against the San Jose Sharks. We might as well, while the iron's still hot, get after it. The most recent of disappointing performances for this team. If you went to bed after the second period, you woke up confused. I'm sure most people did after falling 3-2 to San Jose. They went 1-2-1 on the road trip. Just what do you make of this team's recent struggles?
Well, they're kind of being caught at both ends where their bottom six just does not score, but they're only getting scoring at 5-on-5 from one one of their top two lines. So they're getting hit because they're not producing. The Zibanejad line is not producing 5-on-5, and they're getting hit because the bottom six is not producing 5-on-5, and they're not playing pristine enough hockey to win 2-1, except for the game they beat Washington a couple of weeks ago 2-1. Their power play is run a little dry. This is a perfect example of why teams just cannot be so dependent on specialty teams. You have to be able to play 5-on-5 because 48 to 50 minutes of a game are played 5-on-5. You can have the best PK, the best power play, which the Rangers had for a lot of the first, couple of months of the season, but they're always streaky, always. And you have to have 5-on-5 to fall back on. They haven't, they just haven't played well enough for a fairly substantial stretch of time. It's been since the first week of December that the Rangers have been bouncing around, winning one, losing two, winning two, losing two. They haven't been particularly impressive for a couple of months.
Well, you talk about a guy like Mika Zibanejad, and on paper, he's still at a point per game or so, but you watch him on the ice, you can very, very much tell that he's not the same guy that we've seen over the last couple of years. Are you worried about any struggles with him and Kreider as well this year?
Am I worried? He has gone through stretches like this before. Mika's gone through stretches where his 5-on-5 production is down. One thing about Zibanejad is that when he is not scoring, he's generally playing pretty well away from the puck. And he is still this year. He does an awful lot. He covers up for Kreider a lot of the time, on the defensive side of the puck. He and Chris are an outstanding penalty kill team. They're their top unit. They've done a very good job. So it's not as if Zibanejad, when he doesn't score, he's adding nothing. It's the opposite, but they still need him to score. And certainly Chris needs to make more of an impact 5-on-5. Their right wing now is become it's a almost a temp position. You don't know who's there. But it's not fair to blame it on the right wing. These are two guys. They're the senior players on the team. They're counted on. They do an awful lot for the team. They have to do more. And certainly, trying to get through the season playing with two fourth lines is very, very difficult. And they're an older team. They're a smaller team. So a lot of these issues have come to the forefront, and yet it's not as if over their last 24, what are they? They're 11-11-2. It's not as if they're 7-15-2. So they found a way to still win enough that they're not crashing, but it's concerning because this is a team that thinks it has this right stuff to win a Stanley Cup, and through this portion of the season, it doesn't look like it to me.
Well, one of the things you mentioned as well, and a lot of people have started to realize, is this team's inability to kind of shake off giving up a goal. Now, 21 times in their most recent instance of being against the Sharks, where they've allowed a goal within 3 minutes of allowing one. What do you see that makes them so vulnerable after giving up goals?
I don't know. I actually asked Laviolette this question 2 weeks ago before they left on a road trip. I think it was before they went to St. Louis, in fact. And I brought it up to him, and he said, "That's a question I wish I had an answer for. I don't know." So if he doesn't know, I don't know. It's not as if he never changes after a goal, or he always changes after a goal, or it's always the same two guys. It's always the same D pair on. It's always the same. It's not. I don't get it. They're not getting the critical save. I think their goaltending has been, overall a little disappointing the last 10 weeks. Certainly Shesterkin a little more disappointing than Quick. They need, they went into the season thinking, and I think appropriately so, that they had a Vezina contender and they had an Norris contender. Well, Adam Fox has gone through a strange first half. I thought his first 10 games was I thought his first 10 games before he got hurt was his best he's played. I thought he was on his way to another Norris or certainly a finalist season. And then he hasn't just quite been the same since he's come back. Maybe he's overthinking it. Maybe he's not 100%. Maybe the first time he's been out for any length of time, he wasn't quite sure how to handle it. I don't know, but you go into the season with two pillars being your goaltender and your Norris Trophy candidate, and neither one has been quite where they need to be. And Shesterkin hasn't been close to where he's needed to be on a consistent level. He's had a lot of highs, but he's had too many downs. And so, this isn't a team that really can contend if they have a little better than average goaltending or average goaltending. The 2015 or the 2016 Rangers couldn't have done that if they had gotten it from Lundqvist. You go to a season with an expectation of excellence, and it just hasn't been quite that so far. It
Well,
wasn't
you're
quite that it wasn't quite that last year either for Shesterkin, and it's surprising. I think it's surprising that the Rangers are going through this a second straight year with Igor.